Debbie Harry, The Fan Story. BBC.
So who's being ripped to shreds?
Well, it's about talking about people, you know, as they pass by you in a bar or something.
All right, well, let's
Yeah, you know.
like that. And well, let's hear it. Rip it to shreds.
Okay.
Okay, Darren, thank you. This is Blondie from New York, one of the finest of new wave acts. It's their first time ever on British television, and this is it. Blondie, take it away.
1, 2, 3. Hey, here she comes now.
Hi, Wendy James here. The first song I heard by Blondie and Deborah Harry was Rip Her to Shreds off their first album. And although I was only 10 years old at the time, that kind of unapologetic, mean girl attitude just really spoke to me. And I started saving up my pocket money and went to the local record store and bought their second album, Plastic Letters. Debbie Harry looked so beautiful on the cover of that album. Each time a magazine or an album cover or just simply a new photograph would be released or to be found somewhere, I would just stare at it and kind of study it and be in awe of her incredible beauty. Blondie were a template for my first band, Transvision Vamp. Them and T-Rex was the kind of goal to mix big, chunky riffs with, you know, the attitude and the melody of Blondie. Of course, there are many other bands involved in Transvision Vamp's influence, but primarily it was Blondie and T-Rex.
She looks like she don't know better. A case of partial extreme. Dressed in a rather hot sweater. Acting like a soap opera queen. And she's so dope. Come on, rip her to shreds. She's so dope. Come on, rip her to shreds.
I hadn't seen them live up until a few years ago when I saw Blondie play at Somerset House in London. And when you go to their shows, it's then that you realise how many hits, how many great songs they've written.
She got the nerve to tell me she's not honest, but her expression is too serene. Yeah, she looks like she watches the comet, always looking to create a scene.
I've never met her. I nearly did one afternoon in a New York fashion store called Marc Jacobs in Soho, New York. I was in the dressing room and came out to look in the mirror, and I could see that Deborah Harry was just getting up off the sofa and turning toward the door. So even then, I didn't meet her. So it's an absolute pleasure to be able to wish Deborah Harry a very, very happy 80th birthday with love, and what a life well lived. Happy birthday, Deborah.
Yeah, you know her. Feel a love on the ring. Yeah, you know her. With the fishy Ingrid, she's so dope.
Hi, I'm Belinda Carlisle, and I've always been very much influenced by the beautiful, iconic Debbie Harry.
I saw you standing on the corner. You look so big and fine. I really wanted to go out with you. So when you smiled, I laid my heart on the line.
I discovered her when I was my last year of high school. In art class, I heard their debut album, and I think my favorite track off of that album was Ex-Offender, which I could really relate to.
You read me my rights, and then you said, let's go and nothing more. I thought of my nights and how they were. They were filled with, I know you wouldn't go. You'd watch my heart burst, then you'd step in.
For me, she was the most beautiful woman in the world at the time, and probably of all times. And it wasn't just her physical beauty, but it was something that from her insides that came through. And I loved her attitude. It was kind of laissez-faire, and it was such a great contrast to her beauty. I mean, of course, I wanted to be Debbie Harry when in the early punk days. And I think of course, I tried to be like her, but it's impossible to be like Debbie Harry because she's really one of a kind.
You just have to laugh.
I've seen her many times in concert. The very first time, I think, back in 1977, I think at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, and I actually saw her perform at the Santa Monica Civic when she opened, or they opened, for Iggy Pop.
You had to admit you wanted the love of a sex offender.
Through the years, I've met Debbie Harry. The first time I met her was when the Go-Go's were recording their first album, Beauty and the Beat in New York, and Chris and Debbie came to meet us for dinner, and I think we were all completely starstruck. And she has this sort of cool attitude, so you weren't quite sure whether she liked you or not. But through the years, when I've gone to see her play, I've been backstage. I just saw her about a year and a half ago, and she's just so nice, and I'm still in awe of her after all these years.
My vision in blue, I call you from inside myself. And in the trial, you are there with your badge and rubber.
I want to say happy birthday, Debbie. You have no idea how much love there is for you in this world, and a lot of it is the love that comes from me. You're just the best.
Darling, 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 I can't wait to see you. Your picture ain't enough. I can't wait to touch you in the flesh.
Hi, my name's Alison Goldfrapp, and I want to celebrate Debbie Harry. I mean, wow, what an incredible woman. Just such a unique singer and performer. Obviously, one of the most stylish women that ever was.
In the flesh.
But also, there's just something so wonderful about watching her performances. Her unique way of delivering a song, her really quirky, funny, weird expressions are just, I find, I don't know, fascinating to watch. There's just no one else like her.
This one's sweetie. This boy is mine. I couldn't resist you. I'm not deaf, dumb, and blind.
One of the first records I ever bought actually was a 7-inch vinyl single of Blondie's Denis Denis.
Oh, Denis, I'm in love with you, Denis. I'm in love with you, Denis. I'm in love with you. Denis, Denis, oh, with your eyes so blue. Denis, Denis, I got a crush on you. Denis, Denis, I'm so in love with you.
And I once met her. Oh my God, I was totally in awe and she was lovely. I just want to say thank you, Debbie. You are a true wonder.
I'm so in love with you.
Hi, this is Andy Bell from Erasure. My earliest memory of Debbie Harry was on a window cleaning round, which my granddad used to have in the brickyards in Peterborough. And I remember having a crush on this other window cleaner. And he was going up the ladder and I was holding the ladder. And all of a sudden on the radio came this song called Denis Denis,
Denis, Denis.
which I never realised was a cover version. But I just thought, wow, what's this song? Because I was a huge fan of Phil Spector and those kind of doo-wop girl groups, and that's what early Blondie sounded like.
Oh, Denis, I'm in love with you, Denis. I'm in love with you.
I first met Debbie Harry in 1991, I think, and Vince and I were doing a video for Red Hot and Blue in New York City, and Debbie came down to the studio to meet us as we were shooting the video in New York City, and the director turned around and said, "Andy, there's somebody here to meet you." And I looked around and it was Debbie Harry, and I couldn't believe it because she was my all-time heroine.
Something in my consciousness told me you'd appear. Now I'm always touched by your presence here.
We went out for drinks afterwards. And we just had a great time. And since then, I've met her about 5 times on tour with Cyndi Lauper, True Colours. I've been to her own shows to see Blondie, and she's vice versa. She's been to see Erasure playing in New York. She gave me the confidence when I was a teenager to bleach my hair really blonde, because I was a tone-up blonde when I was a kid, and not be shy in school and kind of stick out from the crowd, I suppose. Subconsciously, I wanted to be a singer, and maybe she guided me towards that, I don't know. My favourite songs are Always Touched by Your Presence, Dear, which I know they didn't write, but I just love the words in the song. And one of my favourite albums is either Blondie or the second album of theirs, Plastic Letters. You've been so gracious and still so beautiful after all these years. So kind to me every time. So I hope you have a really wonderful year, and hopefully we'll bump into each other. Happy birthday, Debbie.
I'm Amy MacDonald, and when I think of Debbie Harry and Blondie, the first thing I just think is, wow, iconic. The personification of cool as, total rock chick. She's just amazing. Just so inspiring to see a woman fronting a rock band. It's amazing. I remember when I started writing songs myself, and I decided that I needed to broaden my horizons and listen to more music and discover artists from earlier on. Back then, it would have been early 2000s or earlier than that, I think. And we couldn't just go online and listen to whatever we wanted. So I took myself off to a well-known music shop in the UK that always had this amazing deal where you could get 3 CDs for a tenner. And I would usually trawl through all these albums and try and pick 3. And I'd then go home and listen to them from start to finish over and over again, just to get a real feel from it. And one of the albums I picked was Parallel Lines by Blondie.
I'm in the phone booth, it's a wanna cross the whore. If you don't answer, I'll just ring it off the wall. I know he's there, but I just try to call. Don't leave me hanging on the telephone. Don't leave me hanging on the telephone.
Just straight away, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like hanging on the telephone, Heart of Glass, one way or another. It just a record filled with hits. And I listened to it so much, and I just absolutely loved it. And even now, when I hear any song from that record, it just transports me back to sitting in my bedroom as a teenager, dreaming about being a musician one day. So I have to say that Debbie Harry has had quite an impact, I think, probably on everyone, really. She's just iconic. I'd love to wish her a very happy 80th birthday. She's amazing.
Hi, this is Paloma Faith. I always aspired to be a bit like Debbie. It was between her and Madonna, and I used to love rummaging around in my mum's underwear drawer in the 80s and put dark eyeliner on and strut about in it and wear high heels and sing her songs. So that's one of my earliest memories.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. One way or another, I'm gonna win you. I'm gonna get you. One way or another, I'm gonna see you. I wanna meet you. One day, maybe next week, I'm gonna meet you. I'll meet you.
I think Debbie Harry's a real trailblazer for female artists. She always unequivocally was herself. She was really rock and roll and punk, and I really respect that. I've actually met her before. I was once performing at a festival, and I was walking around, and people my whole life have been like, oh, you look a bit like Debbie Harry, because we've got the same like wide face with high cheekbones. And I always just found her so cool. But I was walking around a festival one day, and I was wearing quite a like carefree outfit, I guess. And this lady called out to me from a golf buggy and said, wow, you look cool. I was wearing a t-shirt that said, God is a woman. And I looked up to see who said it, and it was Debbie Harry. Now, you can't get more flattering than that. The thing that makes her most iconic is that she does what she wants when she wants. So sometimes she does a really minimal effort performance, and she kind of does the thing that all young people are trying to do now of being nonchalant. And then other times she just goes for it and she rocks out, and she's just incredible. I just think she's incomparable. Anybody who ever compares me to her, it's the most ultimate flattery.
I'm Bob Harris, and the first time I heard about Blondie was when I was in New York in 1974, because I made a visit to CBGB's in Manhattan, and there was this new band Blondie that people were talking about, and in particular, the lead singer, Deborah Harry. And Deborah Harry had a kind of Marilyn Monroe look about her. She was like a punk Marilyn Monroe is the way I was thinking about her and the way she was being described in New York at the time. It was her. She was the focal point, wasn't she, of the band. And of course, the music was great, in particular with Heart of Glass. That record arrived right in the middle of the disco moment. On the floor at Studio 54, it fitted right in. In fact, alongside the Nile Rodgers type disco records, it just gave a slightly different flavor, but the dance beat was just right. And of course, the video was amazing. In the very, very early days of video, she looked amazing. We broadcast a wonderful concert with them, which they performed at the Glasgow Apollo on New Year's Eve, 1979 going into 1980. The place went absolutely wild. I mean, it was really, the atmosphere was incredible. And we all went back to the hotel afterwards. It was a hotel in the centre of Glasgow. I suppose we got back there about 1 o'clock in the morning. We commandeered the bar, and Deborah and Chris and a couple of the other people from the band and other people who were in the bar just joined into the massive great jam session which took place till about, I seem to remember going up to bed at about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was such great fun, and that night was great fun. It's interesting because their roots were slightly different. They weren't just a straight punk band. I mean, the first big record, Denis, was originally recorded in '63 by Randy and the Rainbows. A little later, they did The Tide Is High, which was recorded previously by the Paragons. They were the first band to take rap to the top of the charts, you know, with Rapture. So they had a lot of different colors in their musical palette compared with a lot of the other sort of 2-chord or 3-chord thrashers that were around them at the time. The songs were great. They could play. She could really sing. It just worked. It absolutely worked. And the other thing about it was, when you think there weren't that many girl singers fronting bands, even then, you know, 74, 5, 6, 7, she was relatively unusual. And because of the way she looked and sounded and the whole vibe of the band just set them apart, I think, from everybody else.
Hello, my name is Beth Ditto from Gossip, and I'm here to say happy birthday, Debbie Harry. One of the best pieces of advice I'd ever gotten, was from Debbie Harry, and I'm serious. It's one of my favorite. It keeps me going. I took it to heart very deeply. She looked at me one day, and she just said, always do your own makeup. And I've carried that with me. And yeah, I do for shows and stuff, so thank you, Debbie.
Living dreams Sunday girl. Baby, I would like to go out tonight. If I go with you, my folks will get uptight. Stay at home Sunday.
Of course, she's an icon, and she's like in every meaning of the word, and she's still working, and she's still creating great work, and she's such a kind person, and she's really funny, and she's really witty. But also for me specifically, like coming from a punk scene in the 90s, like I really struggled because I wanted to sound like Kathleen Hanna. I wanted to sound like Kim Gordon. I wanted to have this rough voice. I wanted to have this like really cool punk rock voice. And it dawned on me one day when I was listening to Blondie, I was like, oh my God, Debbie Harry is so punk, and she has a choir girl voice too. And it just was very validating, and it made me like really embrace the way that I sing instead of trying to scream over, to sound like somebody I wasn't. So thank you, Debbie Harry, for that and so many other things.
Hurry up, you wish. I got the blues, please. Come see what you do to me. I got the blues.
It's always a pleasure to see you, and just that we get you in our lives, and like that we get to like listen to your music and to just experience life with Debbie Harry. It's priceless. So thank you so much. And guess what? Happy birthday!
Hi, this is Pauline Black, lead singer of The Selector. My earliest memory of Deborah Harry is meeting her for the first time when our band supported Blondie at Hammersmith Odeon in 1980. I was invited to a dressing room before the show for a photo shoot with her for the music press. To say I was overwhelmed would be an understatement, but she was so welcoming and put me totally at ease that I treasure that photo, and I've loved her ever since. Deborah Harry is a true music icon. I adore the attitude with which she sings her lyrics, always fierce, but with a sassy sweetness that very few of her contemporaries can pull off. She owns her own space, visually with her unique punk styling, but always manages to subvert the blonde bombshell image into something so much more dangerous and completely her own. Deborah Harry understood that punk is an attitude, not the way you dress. There's a famous photo of myself and several other female pop artists at the time that was taken with her at a photo shoot we did for NME Music Paper at what Deborah Harry likes to call her tea party in 1980. That photo has gained iconic status over the years. I mean, believe me, if you get an invite to something like that, then you go. And I was totally honoured to be there. I think Deborah Harry broke down many barriers in the music business. She always was showing women how to own a stage and be authentically their own person. Here's wishing Deborah Harry so much respect and admiration for her 80th birthday. You are a woman who's shown us all that it is possible to grow older in the music business with dignity and without losing any of our power on stage. Long may she reign as Queen of Pop.
Hi, this is Louise from Sleeper, and I first saw Debbie Harry on Top of the Pops when I was about 9 or 10. Blondie were performing Heart of Glass, and I remember being absolutely captivated. This song was great, and Debbie's voice is amazing, but it was her attitude that struck me and was new to me. She's performing to please herself, like daring you down the camera not to think she's great. It was quintessential punk and rock and roll that all male rock stars had given off forever, but I'd not really seen in a woman before. We recorded a cover of Atomic for the Trainspotting soundtrack, I think because the original was too expensive to use. But we play it a lot in our set these days, and it always feels like a privilege to play it. Blondie were a big influence on Sleeper musically, and I literally tried to copy her trademark jaw wiggle in our video for Statuesque. When Debbie does it, it's half smile, half scowl, incredibly cool. I just looked like I had something wrong with my mouth. But, you know, it was impossible not to try. I like that there's mystery to Debbie Harry right through her career, huge fame. It feels like she's very much kept ownership of herself, of her story, in a culture where female celebrities in particular are expected to give themselves away. But what a history, Blondie spans such an array of genres, 60s garage groups, Broadway rock, new wave and punk. Like, Debbie Harry's a direct line from the Shangri-Las to the Strokes, and that's just musically. Never mind the iconography, the musical and style permissions that she gave to all the women who came after her. She's daring, she's boundary shifting. To have such a legacy, to be this iconic still at the age of 80. Debbie Harry, force of nature. We should all be so lucky.
Hi, this is Courtney Love. It's Debbie Harry's 80th birthday, the most beautiful rock star in history. Actually, Debbie, you gotta share it with Kurt. Kurt and Debbie. Can you really honestly think of anybody in rock and roll history? Stevie. Okay, Stevie, Debbie, Kurt. Call Me was a hit. And I did this thing where I taped it on a cassette, Call Me, off of the AM radio. And then I would do calisthenics and like jumping jacks. I would exercise and I would just play Call Me over and over and over again. I don't know if anybody else out there has OCD about certain songs, but first of all, I was just so thrilled that a band so cool was on the radio all the time. Debbie, you've been a huge influence on all of us natural blondes out here in the world, and I adore you. And the first time that I met you, I thought I was gonna faint because you're just so amazing and seminal and fantastic. And I love you, Debbie. Happy, happy, happy birthday. And may you have many, many more. Bye.
This is Michelle Visage, and the year was 1980, and I was young and so influenced by popular music and anything that was on the radio. Call Me came out. The Giorgio Moroder produced disco lush feel of Blondie, and that song went to #1. I was completely obsessed with Debbie Harry. The coolness of her, the front woman status, which not many women were at that point. And not only was she rapping, but she was also punk and grunge and cool, and she did everything by her own standards and her own way. And that's absolutely what I love to this day about Debbie Harry. There is nobody that can say that she didn't do it first. Debbie Harry did it all first. I think Debbie Harry walked so Madonna could run. And of course, we can't forget Debbie Harry at the movies. Her role in the body horror movie Videodrome was really quite risky. I don't know if anybody watched it. It's definitely not for everybody. But for the time, it was very edgy, and also like, that's the thing about Debbie Harry. No one could ever really tell her what to do. That's what I'm talking about with the correlation between her and Madonna. They were going to do whatever they wanted to do. And that comes from their punk rock mentality. I absolutely adore that.
Come to me. Don't keep me waiting.
Starring James Woods and Deborah Harry. Videodrome, coming soon to a theater near you.
She also originated the role of Velma Von Tussle in the John Waters movie Hairspray. I think not everybody remembers that. Those who know, know. And they were both left field choices that have a huge cult following.
Starring Sonny Bono, Ruth Brown, Divine, Michael St. Gerard, Debbie Harry. The new comedy from John Waters. It's way beyond Grease. Hairspray.
So this woman, 80 years old, by the way, is still doing her thing. She still looks amazing. She still sounds amazing. She still is amazing.
Hi, this is Betty Boo. The first time I saw Debbie Harry was on Top of the Pops, and she was performing Hanging on the Telephone. I was absolutely blown away. She was so exotic with her blonde hair and beautiful heart-shaped face, and I just couldn't take my eyes off her. I remember recording it onto my cassette player from the TV and going straight to my bedroom, playing it back and dancing endlessly in front of the mirror with a hairbrush, imagining I was her. I loved her static deadpan performances. She was so cool, so iconic.
Every girl wants you to be her man, but I'll wait, my dear, till it's my turn. I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like that. Oh no.
She was the first woman I ever heard rap. When I saw the video for Rapture, I just lost my mind. There she was rapping along in the New York street scene with Fab Five Freddy and Basquiat. I hadn't seen anything like it before. I just wanted to be her so badly. It's why I started rapping and making pop records. There'll definitely be no Betty Boo without Debbie Harry. My dad knew I was obsessed with her because I loved The Tide is High, so he went out and bought me the Auto-American album and a nice MIDI hi-fi to play it on. I just had the best time listening to Blondie as a little girl, and Debbie Harry has always been my hero, a true 20th century icon.
Hi, it's Trevor Nelson. It's my honour to talk about Debbie Harry and Blondie. Oh, wow. It takes me straight back to school days in the late 70s. Obviously, all the boys at school used to fancy Debbie Harry. She was just the pin-up girl of post-punk. The punk era was dying down a little bit, and there were a few female lead women, and she was just the most visual of all of them. And her stance when she stood by the mic was iconic. Her hair, her look, the way she sung was pretty iconic. But for me, a couple of years after Parallel Lines came my favourite Blondie tune, because although there was that punk element to all their music, it was Rapture that really made me want to buy a Blondie record, because it had an element of hip-hop in it.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly. DJ spinning, I said, my, flash is fast, flash is cool. Francois, c'est pas, flash ain't no duke, and you don't stop. Sure shot, go out to the parking lot, and you get in your car and drive real far, and you drive all night, and then you see a light, and it comes right down and lands on the ground, and out comes a man from Mars, and you try to run, but he's got a gun, and he shoots you dead, and he eats your head, and then you're in the man from Mars. You go out at night, eating cars, you eat Cadillacs, Lincolns too, Mercuries and Subaru, and you don't stop, you keep on eating cars. Then when there's no more cars, you go out at night and eat up bars where the people meet. Face to face, dance cheek to cheek, one to one, man to man, dance toe to toe. Don't move too slow, cause the man from Mars is through with cars. He's eating bars, yeah, wall to wall, door to door.
had the first rap in a pop song that I can really remember. And she raps it, Fab Five Freddy. That's the first thing she says. And I was like, whoa, love this tune. To this day, it's timeless. And so many people have sampled it in hip hop since then.
Straight out the gate, y'all, we drop hits. Now tell me, how nasty can you get? All the way from the hood to your neck of the woods is ripped. One thing for sure.
And so that gives this tune and the band Blondie an iconic spot in hip-hop history. There are only a few bands that have been sampled in that way. Steely Dan are one of them, you know, various bands from the rock genre. But Rapture was the first pop rap record, if that makes sense. And Debbie Harry, I got the honour of actually DJing before she performed somewhere at the Café de Paris a few years ago. It was really weird for me because, you know, it was just weird because it was Debbie Harry. It was like, if only she knew 40 years ago when I was at school or something, it was like crazy. But no, that is my tune, my favourite Blondie tune. Still play it today, still love it. Happy birthday, Debbie. You're an icon.
Hi, this is Holly Johnson, and I think Debbie Harry is the coolest woman alive. I love her. She's fabulous. And one thing about Debbie Harry, people are obsessed with her beauty and her fabulous blonde image, which was sort of shot as a Polaroid by Andy Warhol, and she remains like that in people's imaginations. They forget to mention her voice is so beautiful and has such incredible clarity and a distinctive sound without it being quirky. I think she's amazing, and more power to her. Her solo album, Cuckoo, with artwork by H.R. Geiger, was a really groundbreaking album. She was rapping and trying out different things.
Test me, your diplomatic drag depressed me. The glitter in your eyes undressed me. You were party slick, really thick, wasting time, dropping lines like I could get you into movies. But we wound up at home just for hamburgers to go. Backfire. Your plan backfire. Backfire.
I absolutely love Backfired from the Cuckoo album that was produced by Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards. It so encapsulates that moment in New York in 1980-81. John Lennon had been shot and everything was diverging. New York was the coolest place on earth at that moment, and Debbie was at the epicenter of it all. Backfired is a great track.
Backfire.
I wish you many happy returns of the day, and I can't believe that you have reached your 80th birthday. Congratulations.
Hi, this is Pete Waterman, and looking back at the 70s, music scene was quite strange because it was in a transition. We'd sort of gone through the Motown phase and Beatles phase, and there was a sort of hollow. And I remember we were always looking for different records. I remember hearing Debbie Harry on radio, and I went down to the record store Virgin in Coventry and got it. And of course, it went down a storm, and Debbie was so distinct. She was so different. It really was that new age where, was it punk, was it rock, was it pop? You didn't quite ever know. But Debbie just was perfect for that time. It was, it was great. The highlights of the Stockacre Waterman career was obviously we met Debbie before we did the remix of In Love With Love, and she was. Sometimes you meet people that you've played, as a DJ and looked up to and have been successful. They never quite live up to the personal meeting. That was not the case with Debbie. She was fantastic. I mean, she just had charisma, and we all sort of were in awe as she came in, and we still talk about the Debbie Harry moment. That's how important it was to us. And here we are, a lady that turns 80. Well, happy birthday, Debbie.
This is Sophie Ellis-Bextor. I think I first discovered Blondie and Debbie Harry in the 90s when I was in my first band, The Audience. I say think because they've got so many hits. I feel like I would have grown up with them as well. As a female-fronted guitar pop band, we had some Blondie comparisons. This is when I was about 16, 17, and so I started looking further into it, and I was just mesmerized by her. I thought she was so captivating. Also, what an interesting band. So many amazing tunes. And I had quite a personal moment with it because I went along to the Q Awards and Deborah Harry walked in just before me. So she went in through on the red carpet, and there was all the photographers. And they were going, Debbie, Debbie, and calling her name. And I was looking at her like, wow, there's Debbie Harry in the flesh. And then I walked in just behind her and they started calling my name. And I was like, whoa, how have they gone from Debbie Harry to me? That's crazy. And I managed to say hello to her on that day. And she was really just so charismatic. She did things on her own terms. She's singing pop tunes. She can interpret that any mixed wonder of ways. And a lot of people with pop music make it very smiley and friendly and try and focus on the relatable. But I feel like when she performed, then she was quite still and quite sort of secure in her space and a little bit mysterious. It made it all the more exciting, the juxtaposition. And you kind of wanted to get to know her. Who is this woman? It's really intriguing. But also her voice is beautiful. She can span the octaves. It sounds kind of, clean and pure and sultry and effortless. All the good stuff, basically. I love her solo stuff as well. Things like French Kiss in the USA and I Want That Man. I mean, I remember listening to those pop records and loving it when I was really exploring pop for myself, when I was sort of approaching my double figures. live as well. Blondie are amazing live. I've done a couple of festivals with them, most recently Glastonbury 2023. They played the Pyramid stage the same year that I did. Properly charismatic, properly iconic, all the good tunes to back it up, of course, but I think the fact that Debbie Harry is such a intriguing pop star, musician, artist to the core is what's given it that long-lasting appeal. I want to wish her a happy 80th. Way to go, Debbie. Happy 80th birthday. Here's to the next decade.
Hi, this is Tia Kofi, the winner of Drag Race UK versus the World. Now, I first sort of heard Debbie Harry's voice, first heard Blondie's music when I was growing up, all through my youth. David Bowie, Blondie were pretty much the only records that were played throughout my household. My mum and dad were huge Blondie fans. I remember anytime we were sort of driving around in the car, that would be the first CD. Yes, back in the days of CDs. The first CD that my dad would sort of pop on, and he had a huge collection of Blondie albums. And I just sort of like remember loving the music and it feeling like a real contrast to the sort of pop music that I was hearing in the 90s. It was a little bit more visceral, it was a little bit more punk, it felt a little bit more real. And that comes down to the live instruments, the sort of genius lyrics, and of course, Debbie Harry's vocals. If I had to pick a favourite Debbie Harry song, I think I would struggle because there are far too many incredible Blondie songs to choose from. But on behalf of my father, I will have to pick Maria. I mean, I think it's one of those songs that is just such a feel-good track. People love to sing along with it. It's got the most iconic vocal in the chorus, and yeah, I just think it's an absolutely brilliant song. I have massive admiration for Debbie Harry. I mean, I think she's been an incredible ally to the queer community throughout her career. I mean, her music alone was super inspirational to queer people during the 70s and 80s. She's had so much impact on the LGBTQ plus community. Particularly, she did a lot of work during the AIDS crisis and was really vocal in raising awareness for that and got involved in fundraisers and sort of used her presence, her voice and her platform to be a true ally to queer people during a very difficult time in our history. And of course, she's had a lot of fun within the LGBTQ plus community, being mates with Andy Warhol. And of course, I am biased as a Drag Race diva myself. Her relationship and friendship with RuPaul, to me, is incredibly iconic. And I just want to say a huge happy 80th birthday to Debbie Harry, the iconic frontwoman of Blondie.
Hey there, it's Jake Shears here. You know, Debbie Harry has always been a massive inspiration to me, and she's always done her thing, stayed creative, stayed in the game. I'll never forget when I moved to New York when I was 20 years old. She was around and there. I remember one of my first big go-go dancing gigs, she was singing. I was just so blown away to be in her presence. You know, years later, Scissor Sisters got to tour with Blondie, and it was such an honor to be on the road with them. You know, she's just somebody I look up to, someone who's just lived her life for her creativity and her art. And that is what I want to be. And Blondie, God, they've made Pollinator, they've made some of their best records even later in life. Pollinator is such a great album, but she is an absolute icon. She's a wonderful person. She's hilarious. And it's just been a great pleasure in my life to get to be around her. A happy 80th birthday, Debbie Harry. You have seen it, done it, danced it, and still absolutely crushing it.
Am I glad to have you back?
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you call yourself Deborah now?
What's my name?
Yeah? Well, it was used to be Debbie.
Well, Debbie's a nickname for Deborah, isn't it?
Well, all right, but in future, you call me Terence.
All right, Terence.
Okay, Deborah. Now, Deborah's going to sing Deborah Harry.
Debbie Harry, The Fan Story, was a Mostest production for Radio 2. You can also listen to Debbie Harry at the BBC, featuring some of her classic interviews and appearances from the archive. Just search Debbie Harry in BBC Sounds. Plus, there are more celebratory programmes available now to watch on BBC iPlayer.
This is Radio 2
on BBC Sounds
and on your smart speaker. Play BBC Radio 2.